Before the Robertsons became a dynasty, they had their best-selling duck call business, a successful line of DVDs, and even a hunting show. Here's a look back at the best of that series, Duck Commander. On this episode of Duck Commander Before the Dynasty, the Robertsons get a taste of Hollywood.
Duck F, take one, Mark.
Now that's what I call boom, boom, boom.
That's it.
And
Shoot 'em up.
I shoot him up. Shoot him up.
working hard, Duck Commander style.
You think I did enough damage?
I think the damage is done. I've never really been a big fan of fast food drive-thrus. But I'll tell you what's worse than that. Being cooped up in a car with members of your smelly family for 12 hours, filming a commercial at a fast food drive-thru. It wasn't fast.
Hey, Willie,
Yeah?
you have a call on line 2 from Steve McElvain?
Copy that. Mike.
Willie,
What's up?
what's happening? I've got a little confidential information that I wanted to tell you about.
Ooh.
Basically, we'd like to do a commercial that has you guys.
Oh, heck yeah. Man, that sounds awesome.
Okay, well, we've been working on some ideas, and the one that kind of stuck was this idea of using something like a fast food restaurant drive-through.
When I heard the new concept, I got it. I thought it'd be hilarious. It sounded like it was right up my alley. I knew it was gonna be tough getting it across the field and getting him to understand why this thing would make sense. All right, guys, we're gonna do the commercial. We're basically driving through a drive-through restaurant, and we're gonna order 6 supersized
At the restaurant?
at the restaurant, in the car.
Well, the commercial was an eye-opening experience.
All of a sudden, we will see a lady in a leather suit, and we're gonna be surprised.
Kind of Hollywoodish, but that was some pretty creative thinking.
Ultimately, I knew I could convince the crew to jump in the car and pull the chute off.
I'm ready to go. I'm all excited about it. Ain't you, Jay?
No.
I had no idea that Benelli was bringing the full crew. We had a mechanic on site, we had lights, we had guys holding lights, holding cords that were holding the lights. It was quite a production. Now, one would assume with a 30-second commercial that it would take maybe a couple of hours.
You're gonna pull actually straight in and turn, okay?
But, I've been around this long enough to know that 30 seconds, usually about 2 days.
When you think about 24 hours being in a day, and we're working 16 hours a day, it sounded like, to me, a big waste of time.
Go ahead, Phil. Good.
Because I thought, basically, all you need to do is turn the camera on, get some lights on the situation, and let us do this.
Look, now, that's it.
Of course, I'm not a director either.
Willie, count down from 10 and roll. Go ahead and send them.
The question of the day was, how long did it take to do a 30-second commercial?
Good. Willie, give me one more turn and look at Phil.
I found out the hard way that it takes about 2 12-hour days.
Duck F, take one, Mark.
And that's what I call boom, boom, boom. Now that's what I call boom, boom, boom. But I'll do better next time.
Good. And let's get one more.
So whatever we did, the word immediately came, do it again. I thought you said you had it.
We'd back up and pull forward and back up, and it was always perfect the first time. I didn't get why we was doing it 100 times.
So Benelli gave us a choice that someone was gonna have to wear a tight leather suit. It was either gonna be an attractive lady that they found or it was gonna be Martin. And we weren't sure if we could squeeze all of that Martin mass into one leather suit, so we chose the lady.
I didn't realize there was going to be a woman on the commercial. When we made the commercial, I was looking
at a 300-pound overweight guy.
They told us when we were filming that thing, they said, look out across the parking lot. Somebody turned on a fan blowing about 30-mile-an-hour wind in our face, and they said, look like you're shocked over what you're seeing.
I was unaware that we were making these facial expressions at a woman.
So that's why they want us to look shocked. So basically, a man who is, who operates like I do, that's just about as close as I ever get to a fine-looking babe like that anyway, from here to the parking lot.
Once I saw the commercial, I thought my wife's gonna be asking me about this and where I was looking. I then informed her that there was no woman there.
I think with our personalities, it was gonna come across good, and I was totally confident. And usually Phil, Jace, all the guys, when it comes to our brand, they trust me to say, you're gonna put us in the right situation.
Yeah, well, in the end, I'm always griping about doing things like this because I feel so silly and so embarrassed that I'm actually sitting in a white Cadillac talking to a fake duckhead. It's in moments like that that I'm glad Willie knows what he's doing because there's no way I could pull this off.
Well, I figured out why I do not like fast food drive-thrus. The kind of fast food that I enjoy fly 70 miles an hour. They're called ducks.
Here at Duck Commander, the Robertson family takes a lot of pride in being authentic, and we love Louisiana.
So when we have our booth for our annual trade show, it cannot be just your regular old metal booth. We have to make it authentic, right, babe?
Yep, and it has to have that Louisiana feel about it.
Yep. But sometimes you take that a little too far.
Maybe.
Have you talked to Skip about us coming up there to look at the booth?
Am I in charge of that? Skip knows what Duck Commander is and kind of the essence of Duck Commander. He knows we're not real modern and flashy. Skippy on.
Hey, what's up? I'm Skip Cuvion with Pin Feathers. I was thrilled when they asked me to build their stuff.
So Skip has this idea. He's like, let's take like barnwood and let's, shoot holes in it. I loved it, and I said, let's go with it.
I'm thinking duck blinds and bullet holes.
Stuff that represents us.
Who knows? I mean, it sounds like it's gonna be a disaster, but we're gonna go over and see what happens. So my truck is a little higher than some, and this trailer was big. I had no idea, where the hitch is. So when I start backing up, I cannot see anything.
No, come on, I just said not too fast.
All her hand motions are kind of half circles, and she's going the opposite way because I'm looking behind myself.
Well, what does that mean? I don't even know. What does that mean?
This is the distance. Your hands are going
like
everywhere.
A lot,
it's not that.
I started looking around on the side of the road. Anything old looks like it washed up out of a lake bed. That's what I go drag up. It all came out of the junk pile, and the older the better.
Skippy, come on.
Well, we're taking their signs. We built the Duck Commander, Buck Commander sign. What we're gonna do is take them out into the wood and kind of pepper them up pretty good with some bird shot.
So Skip, what exactly is your vision for this booth for the show?
Well, we're trying to bring the outdoors to the indoors. Basically trying to represent Louisiana swamp. I got a duck hanging there. Okay, I know I need a wall to put a duck on. What would appear to be like a duck camp shack. We don't need this.
There you go.
Here we go. Let's roll. Let's roll. Here we go. He says, grab the guns. We're going out to shoot up the signs to make them look more authentic. Being from Louisiana, you can't make a sign or see a sign without shooting it. So on Skip's little magical redneck field trip, he wants to weather the door for the booth. So he starts to tie it to the back of his Bronco to get scrapes and scratches on it. The thinker I am, I said, hey, let's weight it down. That'll even make it more weathered. So I dropped about 200 on top of it and some change. I knew in 2 seconds, this is the dumbest thing I ever pulled off.
I've done some stupider stuff than that.
And there was no stop and skip.
I heard a lot of screaming and stuff.
What a moronic way to go do this. Little stumps, or especially anthills, there's no get. All right, we ready to shoot this thing?
Shoot 'em up.
I shoot them up.
Shoot him up. So Skip tells me, he's like, Willie, just put a little light pepper job on it, and I go to cutting down.
We ain't gonna have nothing left.
Just a light coating of BBs across this old wood.
Dang, Willie.
Oh!
I mean,
Skip, my bad, dude.
you knocked a hole in it. The idea was just to pepper it.
That's not
Knocking
pepper.
a hole in it.
Oh, you can buff that right out, Skip.
Well,
Maybe not. You think I did enough damage?
I think the damage is done. I think we need to get this thing out of here.
When Duck Commander does something, we do it all the way. See, that's how we do it in Louisiana. Just take it outside and pepper it up with a shotgun.
Just don't try that at home.
No. Here at Duck Commander, a lot of people think it's all fun and games, but there's actually a lot of work that goes on.
And a lot of play.
Well, work too, though.
Well, like the time we did that redneck fashion shoot,
Oh, boy. What was that?
that's kind of combining the two, work and play. No one does a fashion shoot like the Robertsons. Al Baudier comes in. He is the fashion guru. He sold me on the fact that the newer fashions and stuff was gonna help our company. He came in with new looks and new designs.
Comfortable fit, and it's great graphics on the clothing, so we can reach people who don't hunt, but they'll wear the clothing because when they look in the mirror, unlike you, Willie, they want to look good walking out. So Corey and Al have set this photo shoot up at my house. What we should do is mix the redneck feel with fashion-forward clothing. Al poses as a country boy, but there ain't nothing country about him.
I don't want to look like that I'm trying to follow fashion.
Right, well, Willie, just by looking at you, I can tell you really don't care. But in a good way.
I am concerned that it's gonna be like, whoa, man, who'd they hire? What's happening now, you know?
Right, and I also understand, Willie, that we have a fashion-forward line, but we also have that traditional lifestyle line that we'll always carry that can appeal to those older guys.
And Al's kind of guy, he's sure of what he does, and I thought, man, I hope he's right. So Al gives me a little tidbit of his vision of what the photo shoot is. He said, I need, your tractor, I need your off-road stuff that you drive around, I need a boat. Here they come. I knew it was trouble. I was like, man, can y'all not do this somewhere else? There's more hair gel in that group right there than on your hair.
But dude, that's what you look like when you were younger. You just won't admit it.
Willie didn't always look like this. I mean, when I married him, I thought I was marrying the clean-cut, preppy one. As the years go by, he's just turning more and more into his dad.
So Al has the idea that he wants me to pull the models in the boat behind my little truck. All right, faster, 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 faster. We're good. He keeps saying, go faster, go faster. Here, drive, you drive, you do it, you drive. You're just doing circles. Get over here and you drive. You take the liability. Oh, no, he didn't want none of that. Dude,
Come on.
Dude, no. How about you take the frosted tips and get in the boat? You want to see drive fast and spin somebody? Al's just kind of guy, like these fashion cats, you just got to keep them under control. Because at the end of the day, it's the Duck Commander name on there that's going to be branded. So don't screw it up with some crazy deal.
All right, guys, that's a wrap. All right?
You got the photos now.
Are you happy now?
Yeah, I'm happy. I won't be happy until they start making money.
Is that what this is all about?
Kinda.
Good deal.
All right.
All right, take care, bud.
These are the kind of things that
I have to handle while Dad and Jace are down there just worrying about where the next spot is they want to move to in the duck blind. But I take that for the team. Country boy, are we on tonight for the radio show? So Phil and I do this weekly radio show called Commanding the Outdoors. I gotta do that radio show tonight, Corey. So tonight, Mark, the country boy Porter, is coming down to the mouth of Cypress to broadcast all across the nation right there out of the living room. So anytime Phil doesn't have to leave his recliner, it's always a good thing. And it's an easy setup. Just Phil, sit there, put the microphone on, and just talk.
It's Commanding the Outdoors. I'm the country boy Mark Porter, and we're broadcasting live from West Monroe, Louisiana. We're here at Phil's once again. Seems like about this time last year we were here doing this show.
That's exactly right. Nice to have you. Welcome.
Well, I appreciate it. Phil, it's always a pleasure.
When it comes to handling Phil, that is a very hard job. Maybe the hardest job I have is to keep Phil focused all the time.
Look, I make recommendations to people. I've been in on an extended field trip for about 50 years. Well, we're all mad at the Weather Channel because they promised a northwest wind. I would never badmouth the wood duck. Somebody said, oh, y'all down to shooting wood ducks? I said, oh, that's exactly what we're down to. We've been down to that for about 30 years, you know. We hadn't pulled a sure enough duck men whacking yet. They came in right to left. I rayed up. I shoot the full charge. Boom, boom, boom. I said, well, yep, there's my limit of woodies. The bottom line is we are fixing to tear their tail up. We're going to be in the duck blind every day without fail. We're not going to miss. We're going to rock on from there. Lawnmower. Yeah. I had a neighbor one time. He come over and he said, Robson, you gonna get around to cutting that grass? I said, no. I said, the frost to get it. Yuppies mow grass, but rednecks tend to, if you just look at their yards, most time it's just bare dirt. Yeah, Miss K, you can fry you up a little hot sausage. If you got enough garlic, you can pretty well eat anything. About a 3-inch one. They're gonna scout that. I never met a cameraman yet that wasn't weird. Every one of them. They got a weird streak in them. But they're creative types, you know, they're thinking outside the box.
We're out of time for this week and want to thank everybody for listening to us. It's always a pleasure. Commanding the Outdoors.
You see, even when we work hard, we try and have fun here at Duck Commander.
Hey, life is too short not to have fun.
That's my wife. Smart, pretty, and fun.
I like that.
As everyone knows, Willie is always dogging me and my workers to do more duck calls. So I thought I had the perfect plan. Why not take the duck call shop to the duck blind, where we have endless moments to sit and work while we wait for the ducks? It seemed like a good idea at the time.
How much more efficient would we be if we could use all that downtime on slow days?
Have you ran this by Phil?
If we can fry fish in there, we can build duck calls in there.
Right out there, they're low.
Willie's really been pushing me to come up with something with this mobile call station where we're manufacturing the calls out in the duck blind. So I've gone around and around on this whole idea of bringing the entire manufacturing process out to the blind. It's just not anything that is conceivably possible.
Making the reeds in the blind with the portable generators, maybe that was over the top, but at least we can get Jace making calls in the blind.
They keep whining, griping, and complaining. And I said, look, I'll help out.
Hey, Phil?
Yeah. I'm fixing to start the duck call mobile assembly line.
Jace is now bringing buckets full of duck calls.
The only reason I considered taking the duck calls out there is because it's been slow. Hey, Phil?
Yeah.
In the history of Duck Commander, have you ever had to build duck calls in the blind?
No, sir.
In all my years, I have never built one duck call inside the duck blind. I built them on the couch in the pickup truck, but I've never actually taken duck calls to the duck blind to put them together. That was a first.
What do you think? We need to put on the packaging, approved by Phil Robertson, made by Jace in the duck blind.
Yeah. I will say this, you are making a valiant attempt to build duck calls and hunt ducks at the same time.
I'm making the duck calls, one right after another. Then all of a sudden I hear Phil start calling.
Good night. Look right there, in the hole.
Uh-oh. I'm looking around thinking, there's no way. I've got stuff everywhere.
Well, you've got all these parts and pieces. Now, the problem is you need to get to your shotgun.
By the time I get out, ducks are gone. It's over. I'm not doing this. If I hadn't had all these duck calls in front of me, I would have shot them. I packed it all back into the bin. I did try to give it my best effort. It's not gonna happen. Ever.
Let's face it, this was not one of my brightest ideas. It was a good idea in theory, but I was naturally distracted by the ducks. And I still think Willie should reward me with a bonus just for the effort and the creativity.